Good morning, folks. I'm Fani Koganti. I'm one of the technologists within the Hybrid Cloud BU. Today, I want to talk about how we need to potentially build some bridges between various operational personas. I'm taking an example of ITOps and SecOps, and at the end of the presentation, hopefully you'll get a feel for there are going to be silos for a good reason, but we need to bridge these silos as well. Don't try to break the silos, keep the silos, but for a good reason, we got to bridge these silos as well. And I'll try to give some good technical reasoning around it with this particular example. So in this slide, I want to set the context that, look, every enterprise that HP goes in and tries to help out, even if the enterprise is heavy on HP equipment or HP compute network storage and all that, the ground level reality is it's always multi-vendor. You will never find an enterprise which is just one or two vendors also. It's a very huge mixture of multiple vendors across all the full stack of the IT deployment. So, and also you'll find that the specific runtime that these customers use, let's say you want to use virtualization, you cannot assume there is a single virtualization player like VMware. There is always going to be multiple runtimes at the virtualization layer as well as at the containerization layer. And obviously the application layer also is pretty wide, all the way spanning from monolithic traditional apps to cloud native and the newly emerging AI native workloads as well. The point of this slide is that try to set the stage that the kind of hybrid cloud operating model that HPE gets into is a multi-vendor and multi-cloud in nature. So you can't just make assumptions around, okay, there will always be a homogeneous implementation with one or two vendors or even a single virtualization vendor and so on. So it brings a lot of complexity with this multi-vendor environments. And the overall operating model, as I was highlighting, in a typical large enterprise, you'll have different operational personas. Obviously, within HP, we as HP OpsRamp, we are good at enabling the IT operations and we have primarily focused on how to reduce the mean time to detect and mean time to restore critical issues. But that doesn't cut the deal in a complex IT environment where there is SecOps, FinOps, and various other operational personas. I intentionally took SecOps as an example. Among one of the research published by one of the analysts is that they conducted a very detailed analysis across thousands of customers, and they realized that ITOps and SecOps are the most outsourced. In other words, most enterprises outsource it and try to take help around those operational areas. And as you can imagine, the ability to identify, let me go to the next slide. What we do at HP OpsRamp, this is just to quickly set the stage. We have been an ITOM leader, meaning in the business of monitoring various IT environments. As a result, we had to build around 2,500 plus integrations across multi-vendors, across compute, network, storage, and various other software layers. But that stopped at monitoring. Post-acquisition of HPE, HPE invested in OpsRamp to become a full-stack observability as well. Meaning you don't stop at just monitoring the IT assets, but also start observing the applications and try to analyze the logs and the application traces to get deeper visibility. So keeping the technical parts aside, think of it on the lines of the quality of data that you're collecting to again figure out the issue, or basically to how to reduce that mean time to detect and restore. Those fundamental goals are not changing here. And if you see in the center, I put in a co-pilot over here around all these things that we observe and all the data that we collect. And you'll be surprised how much data across the thousands of customers we have. Just in a single day, we are collecting around 54 billion metric samples per day. So in this new age of AI, as you can imagine, data is the new gold. but that unstructured or sometimes dirty data needs to be cleaned up and the insights need to be extracted, again with that same goal of reducing that mean time to detect and mean time to restore. That's where our AI-based operations copilot is going to enable those on trying to become an assistant to the human operator, try to figure out those issues or insights that are difficult for humans to identify, or sometimes they are impossible for humans to identify. So this is more of a high-level overview of HPE OpsRamp, where it's a full-stack observability platform with a very narrow focus on applying AI and ML and the more recent agentic AI also to detect and remediate issues. And if you guys are interested in those AI capabilities, please stop by our booth. We have a real live demo that we are showing, and we are in a beta program where we would love to engage with some of you guys to get real feedback as well. Now let's get into this topic of ITOps and SecOps. If you think about it at a technology level or at an architecture level, both the operational personas or all these implementations have something in common. Even on the security side, the security architectures have moved to an angle where you detect and respond. You cannot, a lot of these threats are not known ahead of time. You got to have deep visibility into what's going on for you to detect and then respond with how you want to handle that particular threat. Look at how IT side of operations happen. You have to invest on a lot of visibility, a good amount of full stack observability to gather enough data to detect an issue and remediate it. Obviously, there is a common pattern here where observing and getting high quality visibility data is critical to whether it is ITOps, SecOps, and previously in that previous slide I showed you FinOps and all that. With granular usage data only, you can make sense out of it from a financial point of view and try to optimize it also. So everything starts with how granular, sometimes more than granularity, the right piece of information, piece of data that you're collecting, I call that as a quality of data also needs to improve. And sometimes, based on the outcome you're trying to derive, you work backwards from that outcome and decide what all data you need to collect. That's what you'll see within HP and HP OpsRamp. And with respect to these SecOps, that's the commonality I see. And so as a result, we also see this pattern that this modern IT command center, if I may say, where all these operational personas need to collaborate, they really need that multi-dimensional view. Just looking at, okay, I have a health issue in one of my storage side of the infrastructure is not good enough. Okay, that is important. You need to look at the high availability health of your IT system. That's all good. But there needs to be a multi-dimensional view for these resources. Let's take that as an example. Let's say, what happens, I'm specifically taking CrowdStrike as an example because we did a tight integration. We also presented at their Falcon conference last year. The key point here is, let's say you have a bunch of virtualized workloads and bunch of containerized workloads running in your IT environment. And obviously for observability reasons, you will instrument it by pushing the observability agents. In this picture, the blue icon that shows over there is the OpsRamp's observability agent, whereas the red icon is the CrowdStrike security agent. Typically, these agents go into your guest operating systems or sometimes sit in your network, not directly on the compute, but also sit in the network. So these two entities, there's a clean separation of duties. They are doing their individual jobs where the observability agent is observing, trying to gather enough data around what is the usage, what is the health, what is the performance aspects, whereas the CrowdStrike agent sitting there is kind of looking at similar things, but it's looking at it in a very suspicious way. It's always looking for those anomalous behaviors with that security dimension or wearing the security hat. So we really believe that these operational personas need to be in their own silos. That is nothing wrong with it. As you guys know, security admins are paranoid for a very good reason. You have to be paranoid. But the IT admins, they're very creative in making sure the lights are on. There could be 100 issues going on behind the scenes, but they'll automatically be remediating it and making sure the business application and the business application uptime is maintained, So, but if keep the silos, but you got to build in what I called as an API bridge between the SecOps and ITOps. And I'll try to take one concrete example that we went through a few of our customers that to put some reality into this. So let's think on the lines of a life of a security event in such a modern IT environment. First thing, obviously you want to instrument all your critical resources for security as well as observability. That's the step number one. As I indicated in my previous slide, we instrumented for observability and with OpsRamp, and we instrumented for security using CrowdStrike. And then let's say a security threat is detected by the CrowdStrike side. And what we have done is we have built an API bridge, and CrowdStrike will asynchronously notify us that, look, there is a security vulnerability, and it will also highlight the criticality of it. There are multiple levels of criticality, and it also gives us enough information about what resources that got affected by that potential vulnerability. And in a lot of these cases, as I said, it's a detect and respond on the security side. They don't know with 100% confidence that it is a vulnerability, but they have a suspicion that something is anomalous and they really want to fence it out. So that's what, what happens is that when the CrowdStrike side of it notifies the OpsRamp through our API bridge, then we immediately convert that security related threat or alert into an IT alert. What happens on the IT side is the operations team is just looking at their IT side of the alerts and managing it. See, the simple point about this slide is that when a security vulnerability is in progress, the IT admin has a very critical role to play. He is not going to participate in forensic analysis and all that, where the security guy is trying to figure out how to really go and remediate or protect that particular vulnerability. What the IT admin's responsibility is, he has to keep the business application up, and the high availability and the uptime of that business application is his responsibility. He's going to fence that resource so that the security admin and the SecOps team can continue their forensic analysis. But it's his responsibility to add extra capacity, and that extra capacity could be a simple word here, but it could mean that he has to add bunch of VMs, bunch of additional networking bandwidth, bunch of additional storage, because the nature of the threat could impact a wider thing like across compute, network, storage. As a result, the IT admin has to replenish those resources and make sure the business continuity is there. And what we did in this particular case is that we integrated in such a tight way that we call that as a two-way integration. When the IT admin makes his side of the things, like let's say he added extra capacity and so on, that event or that information is also passed on to the CrowdStrike side for the security admin to understand. Okay, we have completely fenced it, and you can go ahead with your forensic analysis, And when the security side of the world, the operation persona fixes the problem, that also is automatically notified to us. So let's look at a quick demo of how things happen. OpsRamp, we modeled, because we have to talk to so many vendors and so many partners, we modeled our integrations as if they are like apps on your iPhone. We have like 2,500 plus integrations. So CrowdStrike is one of our integration. You typically configure the secure keys between the OpsRamp instance and the CrowdStrike instance. The good thing is both of them are SaaS-based solutions, meaning the CrowdStrike or the Falcon Cloud and the HP OpsRamp Cloud can just talk between each other, API to API. Once you configured it, so in this example, what happens is that As I told you, CrowdStrike instruments for security and we OpsRamp instrument for observability. CrowdStrike has discovered all the virtualized and containerized resources into their system. Think of this as the inventory of the resources. Now, similarly, OpsRamp has also discovered them. First step we do is we talk to each other, we reconcile. Look, I have these 10 resources that I'm monitoring for observability. CrowdStrike also says that, yep, I also have them. Individual systems, we identify them and we give them different IDs. I'm sure you guys are used to any system, they try to give their IDs. We reconcile and make sure, okay, my side of the ID means your maps to your ID X, and so on. So we reconcile on our resources, and from here on we are on cruise control. Something happens, then only we come into we get activated and we play a role here. So suddenly at a particular time, there was a vulnerability that CrowdStrike detected, and it gave the severity as high, and it also provides some additional metadata to understand a few additional details about that particular security threat, and we get notified asynchronously. When it comes to the OpsRamp side, the way we integrated it is, it comes in as a log message. The security threat event on the CrowdStrike track gets converted to log and it comes over to us. And we have a capability to automatically convert a security related log message into an alert. This is what happens. It automatically gets converted to alert. I would like to highlight to you guys that obviously we have a particular category called endpoint protection, detection related alert. There can be various categories that we can create. And also keep in mind, CrowdStrike is only one of the next gen SIEM. We have customers who have been asking us to, look, you need to integrate with multiple SIEMs. You don't make an assumption that in an enterprise there is going to be a single SIEM. And we have, because this is a critical alert, we have converted it to an incident. For example, if you have your IT service management using ServiceNow, we will automatically push this incident into ServiceNow so that the IT side of the operations team is doing their work, security side of the operations team is doing their own work, right? So that's the key thing, but take this as an example only. You got to keep these silos for a good reason, let them operate and play their roles, have that clean separation of duties. But you need to build those API bridges also for good reasons, for justified use cases like this. And we are in deep discussions, especially with CrowdStrike. As you can imagine, security ops need a lot of analytics. And as you can imagine, they're getting very AI-based security analytics. And HPE's private cloud for AI is the enabler for such on-prem and data privacy and all those advanced AI analytics. So you'll see us partnering on that AI side also, where visualize, and when you guys look at our agentic demo on the HP OpsRamp side, you'll get a feel how we will automagically root cause things. And we plan to have some agentic integration between partners. And CrowdStrike is one of our partners where there is going to be real value in don't exchange raw data between these SecOps and ITOps. Start exchanging these key AI-based insights so that you can bring a bigger value to the customer also in a faster way. If no questions, thank you very much.